Good evening, it's meteorologist Michael Fecka. Welcome back to the 9 p.m. all-weather, all-streaming show that we do here every night during the workdays and on weekends. We stream it out to all of our streaming platforms, including Facebook and YouTube. So if you're joining us from either place, please feel free to leave us a question or a comment. Hopefully, I'll be able to answer everything as I go through the forecast, but if not, I'll go through at the very end and see if I can answer anything individually for you. But let's get started here with a look at our headlines. And well, we're tracking out some cloud cover and chillier temperatures here, at least through the rest of the night tonight. Then, once we get into tomorrow, we'll actually briefly warm back up into the lower 40s, and then we'll probably bounce around in the 30s and 40s here through the rest of the weekend before we finally start to see that warming trend kick off for the start of next week. We're talking about temperatures well above average, maybe even into the 50s. Some spots maybe even in the upper 50s, closer to 60 degrees, and then it looks like we have the chance for some light rain showers by the time we get into Tuesday night, Wednesday, and maybe lingering into Thursday. So I'll break down all those details for you in a moment, but let's take a look at what's going on outside right now with our Doppler radar. We've got this low pressure system that's gradually drifting off to the east, but staying mainly north of the Great Lakes, and it's passing in or bringing some of those frontal boundaries in across portions of the Ohio River Valley. Now, a lot of these fronts will be passing to our north and east, so it's not really going to impact us much in terms of precipitation. They got a couple of light snow showers or flurries, mainly off to our east out towards the Louisville area. We may see a passing flurry here through the rest of the night tonight, and maybe a sprinkle or a flurry by mid to late morning tomorrow as the cold front finally clears the area, but not expecting any sort of really measurable or impactful precipitation. We're just pretty much tracking out cloud cover and the up and down temperatures here through the weekend. But here's a live look outside at the Deaconess Gateway camera. You can see we've just got cloud cover out there. Nothing really falling from the sky. We still have that snow on the ground, which will hopefully be a distant memory here come the start of next week. But it's still around here for the night, especially with temperatures hanging out in the 20s. Now, our high for the day, or at least earlier this afternoon, was actually 24 degrees, and we've kind of warmed up a little bit since then. We've got cloud cover in place and winds out of the south, so that'll keep our temperatures hanging out in the mid to upper 20s through the rest of the night tonight. So we're not really going to be seeing much of a change through the overnight hours. And here's a look at the observed highs, or at least temperatures observed earlier this afternoon. We got temps around 24 degrees today in the Evansville area, cooler to the north up towards Indianapolis, 22, a little bit warmer to our south there, 31 degrees out towards Paducah. And looking at how that compares to what's normal, no surprise there, we're running well below average for this time of year by around 20 degrees, but you know, we're used to it at this point. You know, we've been stuck in these bitter cold temperatures for the last couple of weeks with very little relief throughout. But better relief is on the way for the start of next week. We've just got to get through the rest of this weekend. And taking a look at those temperatures right now across the tri-state, we've got some nearing 30 degrees up towards Mount Carmel, 27 here in Evansville, 28 in Madisonville, and around 26 there in Newburgh and Owensboro. Looking at the next 12 hours, as I mentioned, with winds out of the south, cloud cover will help insulate those temperatures, so we're probably not going to see a whole lot of movement here through the rest of the night tonight, and then we'll start to warm back up through the day tomorrow with winds continuing to come up out of the south and even gusting up to 20, maybe even 25 miles per hour through tomorrow afternoon. So that's really going to filter in that warmer air, even with the cloud cover we'll have in place. We should still climb all the way up into the lower 40s, and we should feel a lot better out there, but that should also start to melt some more of that snow. It won't melt all of it away. Again, we're going to need that sunshine and those warmer temperatures, but that will come for the start of next week. So the snow will be gone soon enough. We just got to wait a couple more days. But looking at our future radar here, we're pretty much just tracking out periods of clouds through tomorrow morning. We'll have that cold front pass to the north and east. And again, you can see most of the action stays off to the east, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a flurry or a sprinkle here by mid to late morning as that front clears. And then it looks like we kind of cloud over through the rest of the afternoon And then high pressure will start to break apart the cloud cover. We may see another flurry or a light snow shower overnight Friday into early Saturday morning, but really expecting to stay dry through the weekend. And we haven't really seen a fully dry weekend here in quite some time. We'll have high pressure building in from the north, especially on Saturday. So that's why temperatures will be dropping down briefly there back into the upper 20s to around 30 degrees. And then we warm back up as that high pressure slides off to our east. Winds come back out of the south, so we'll get up into the lower 40s again for Super Bowl Sunday. So that will be a pleasant day to enjoy the game indoors, maybe even crack a window out there. It'll be nice. And then looking at our 7-day temperature trend, only gets better here. Looking at next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we'll top out in the low to maybe even upper 50s, depending on where you are. We'll be at 51 on Monday, all the way up into the upper 50s by Tuesday. I think some spots maybe even touch 60 degrees across portions of western Kentucky. So that is a full-on spring day. I mean, that is short sleeves and shorts. That is sunglasses. We're going to be outside on Monday and Tuesday. I better see it. And then we've got more showers on the way Wednesday and Thursday. We'll still remain above average, but that will cool our temperatures down by a couple of degrees, topping out in the lower 50s, maybe even into the upper 40s by the time we get into Thursday. But looking at those rain chances, they are slight. We're not looking at anything major, 20 to 30% there Tuesday and into Wednesday. Let me show you what this whole entire next week looks like here on our future radar. So high pressure builds in through Saturday, so we'll have winds coming up out of the north, so that's where we'll see our cool down. And then as that high shifts off to our east, winds start to come up out of the south, so that's when we warm back up again for the second half of the weekend. And then that warming trend continues. Winds come up out of the southwest through the entirety of the start of the work week as a warm front kind of passes to our north. And that warm front will eventually bring in that chance for some of those scattered showers Tuesday night and continuing throughout the day on Wednesday. But we're not looking at anything major here. It's a relatively weak wave of low pressure, so some just scattered showers are expected to linger there even into Thursday. And then it looks like maybe cooling down just a touch there by the end of next week. But there's a look at your 7-day forecast, just to kind of wrap it up in a little bit of a bow on the quieter side here for the next 7 days. So that's good news. We could all use a break. We could all use just some normal, average tri-state weather. And I think that's what we're going to get here, at least through the weekend, and then above average temperatures for the start of next week. So I don't have many complaints about this forecast, but I do want to bring your attention to maybe some brighter news. As we enter the month of February, we experienced some daylight changes. We are going to gain about an hour of daylight here through this month. So I know it's been cold and dark. January is a very dark and cold month, but February we start to see things getting a little bit better out there. And taking a look at our sunrise and sunset times through the next week, month, and by the time we get into June 20th, I want to show you the differences we'll undergo. So today, our sunrise was at around 6:50 in the morning, our sunset at around 5:18, but in just 2 weeks from now, we'll already have gained an additional half hour of daylight. So our sunrise will be at around 6:35, and our sunset will drop down into around dropping down. It'll be 5:33 p.m. And then in just 1 month from today, we'll gain about an hour and 3 minutes. So our sunrise will be at around 6:16 and our sunset at around 5:47. And of course, the first day of summer, June 21st, that is the longest day of the year. Our sunrise all the way at 5:28 in the morning, and our sunset isn't until 8:16 p.m. So that is a big full day of sunshine there, and from this point until then, that'll be about 4 hours and 21 minutes of gained daylight. So we just got to get through here a couple of weeks at a time. We gain a half hour, and then by the time we get into March, especially when we see that time change back over to daylight savings time, that is really where we see a difference. So hopefully this helps get you through the next couple of weeks here, because spring is around the corner and of course summer is soon to follow. So just wanted to add that in there, spread some positivity as we head into a warmer week. Let me take a look at some of your comments. Suzanne says, good evening to you. Same thing to Lenny and Cheyenne. Nick says, heat wave next week. LOL. You're not kidding. I would consider this a heat wave for February. I mean, come on. We've been dealing with temperatures in the teens, 20s, wind chill values all the way down below zero for the last couple of weeks. So this is just going to be a welcomed resurgence of warmth here. Paula says good evening, and she also hopes that it lasts the rest of the winter. I'm with you. I'm hoping that groundhog's wrong. You know, so far his outlook's not looking too great. I mean, we're already going to be climbing back up into the 50s, and Groundhog Day was just this past Monday or Tuesday. So not looking good for you, Phil, but looking great for us. That's all I've got here for the 14 First Alert Weather Show at 9. So I'm going to hop off the live stream, and I'll send you guys over to 14 News at 10 for all the latest news and weather headlines. Until then, everybody, stay safe, stay warm, and we've got warmer temperatures on the